There's something happening here that goes deeper than pressure, deeper than identity, deeper even than change itself. And it centers around a part of you that most people spend years trying to ignore. Chiron in Aries has always pointed to a very specific kind of wound. Not just pain, but the feeling that you were never fully allowed to be who you are without consequences. The sense that if you spoke too directly, wanted too much, or took up too much space, something would be taken from you in return. Approval, safety, belonging. Over time, that creates a pattern. You don't stop existing, but you start adjusting. You soften your edges, you hold back your instincts, you second-guess your impulses before they even reach the surface. And eventually, it becomes so normal that you don't even recognize it as something that was learned. It just feels like, this is who I am. But what's happening right now is different. Because Chiron isn't sitting quietly off to the side. It's surrounded. Every other force in this alignment is feeding into it, amplifying it, giving it weight and momentum. And when that happens, the wound doesn't stay passive anymore. It doesn't just ache in the background. It starts pushing back. This is why some people are suddenly feeling a kind of internal shift they can't fully explain. Not emotional in the usual sense, not fragile or uncertain, but almost firm. Like something inside you that used to hesitate is no longer asking for permission. It doesn't come across as loud at first. It's subtle, but it's steady, a moment where you would normally stay quiet, and instead, you speak. A situation where you would usually step back, and instead, you move forward without overthinking it. That's not random. That's the wound changing roles. The part of you that learned to stay small is the part that's now refusing to shrink. And what makes this powerful is that it's not driven by anger or reaction. It's not about proving something to someone else. It's much simpler than that. It's the realization that the only reason that part of you ever felt like a weakness is because it was never supported properly in the first place. Now it is. And when something that's been held back for that long finally has support, it doesn't just return quietly. It stabilizes, it integrates. It becomes part of how you move, how you decide, how you carry yourself. This is why this moment feels so specific. It's not lighting up everything. It's activating something very precise, the part of you that always knew what it wanted to do, but didn't feel allowed to follow through. Most people misunderstand Aries completely, and that misunderstanding is exactly why this moment feels so unexpected. It's often reduced to surface traits: impulsive, aggressive, impatient, quick to act without thinking. And while those traits exist, they're not the essence of what Aries actually represents. They're distortions of it. At its core, Aries is the part of you that existed before you started adjusting yourself to fit into the world. Before you learned what was acceptable, what was too much, what needed to be toned down or hidden. It's the version of you that didn't negotiate its existence. It simply was. That's why Aries energy feels so direct. It doesn't filter itself through approval. It doesn't wait to be validated. It moves because it exists, not because it was given permission to exist. And when you have this many forces concentrated there at once, it doesn't just create action. It creates clarity about what was added onto you over time, and what was always yours to begin with. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about stripping away everything that isn't original. Your real self doesn't need to be built. It needs to be uncovered. That's what makes this moment feel so different from the usual cycles people talk about. It's not asking you to improve, to evolve, to become better in some abstract way. It's pulling you back to something much more direct. You may start noticing it in how you react to things. Situations that used to make you hesitate now feel obvious. Decisions that once felt complicated suddenly feel simple. Not because the situation changed, but because you're no longer filtering yourself through the same layers. And that can feel unfamiliar at first. Not uncomfortable, but unfamiliar, like you're operating from a place you recognize but haven't used in a long time. One of the most overlooked effects of a moment like this is the kind of confidence it creates, because it doesn't look or feel like confidence in the way people usually expect. It doesn't come from months of preparation.